Across the screens, Lina, a vibrant young woman from Nepal with an adventurous spirit, often escaped into the world of social media after long days of routine life. It was through one of these digital wanderings that her destiny took an unexpected turn. While scrolling through her Instagram feed one quiet evening, her eyes locked on a photograph, a breathtaking view of the Swiss Alps bathed in golden sunlight. The snow-dusted peaks, the silence of the wilderness, and the poetic caption beneath the post stirred something deep within her. The photo was captured by Alex, a passionate photographer from Switzerland. His page was a gallery of nature's wonders, lakes that shimmered like mirrors, hidden villages, and cloud-kissed mountains. But beyond the beauty of his work, Lina felt drawn to his soul, which peeked through his thoughtful words and serene images. Without hesitation, she hit follow. Their interactions began innocently, Lina commenting on the colors in a sunset, Alex responding with curiosity about the culture and landscapes of Nepal. Messages turned into conversations, and soon, conversations flowed like rivers, unburdened and honest. They shared everything: photography tips, their childhood stories, their dreams of places yet to see. The time difference didn't matter. When Lina woke up, there'd be a message from Alex describing the misty mornings in the Alps. At night, she'd talk to him about the sounds of Kathmandu, the distant bells, bustling streets, and laughter echoing from tea shops. Over the months, what began as an unexpected friendship blossomed into something deeper, something warm, exciting, and real. The screen could no longer contain what they felt. One evening, as the Himalayan sky turned orange, Alex typed words that made Lina's heart leap. "What if we met in person? Switzerland. The mountains where it all began." Lina paused, staring at the message. The thought thrilled and terrified her, but in her heart she knew the answer. "Yes," she replied. "Let's make it real." When Lina landed in Switzerland, her heart pounded with nervous excitement. Zurich airport buzzed with travelers, but to her, it felt like everything moved in slow motion. She scanned the crowd until her eyes found him, a tall, familiar figure holding a handmade sign that read, "Namaste, Lina." His warm smile was even more genuine than on screen, and when their eyes met, time stood still. They walked toward each other as if the entire universe had orchestrated that moment. When they finally embraced, it felt like returning home to someone she had known forever. "Welcome to Switzerland," Alex whispered, his voice gentle and full of emotion, exploring Switzerland together. The next few days unfolded like scenes from a dream. On the first morning, Alex took Lina to Lauterbrunnen, a fairy tale village nestled in a valley surrounded by waterfalls. They sipped hot chocolate at a tiny cafe, their laughter mingling with the sound of rushing water. Later, they rode a scenic train to Jungfraujoch, the top of Europe, where they stood above the clouds, wind in their hair, gazing at the endless snowfields. One evening, Alex surprised Lina with a visit to a hidden alpine lake. Lanterns flickered along the trail, and a picnic awaited them by the water. They sat on a blanket, sharing stories and strawberries, their fingers intertwined. The stars mirrored in the lake, and for a while, they just sat in silence, soaking in magic. On another day, they visited a traditional Swiss village where Alex taught Lina how to ski, though they both ended up laughing more than skiing. She taught him some Nepali phrases, and he tried momo for the first time at a fusion restaurant he had found just for her. Every place they visited, every laugh they shared, deepened their connection. On their final day together, Alex took Lina to a mountaintop he had never photographed before, a place he had saved for someone special. As they stood at the edge, overlooking the majestic landscape, he pulled out a small notebook. "I started this journal the day we began talking," he said. "Every page is a piece of us. And this," he turned to the last page, "this is where our next chapter begins." He took her hand, his eyes full of sincerity. "Lina, this feels like the beginning of something incredible." Her eyes glistened. "It does, and I don't want it to end." Lina smiled, but there was a trace of sadness in her eyes. "It does, but I can't believe I'm leaving tomorrow. It feels like we just got here." Alex looked away for a moment, as if trying to stop time. "Yeah, it went by too fast." The wind carried their silence for a few seconds as they both took in the moment. There was heaviness in their hearts, knowing this chapter was ending, even as another one was waiting to begin. Lina reached out, brushing a strand of hair from Alex's face. "I wish we had more time," she whispered. "So do I," he replied softly. Then, without another word, they leaned in and kissed slowly, tenderly, with all the emotion of two souls who had crossed oceans to find each other. In that kiss, there was love, gratitude, and the quiet promise of a future not yet written. After their magical week in Switzerland, Lina and Alex returned to their own countries, their hearts full of memories that felt almost too perfect to be real. The days they spent exploring the Swiss countryside, sharing laughs over coffee in quaint cafes, and gazing at the stars on chilly nights had cemented their bond. For the next few weeks, everything between them felt perfect. Their relationship was everything Lina had ever dreamed of: warm, genuine, and full of joy. They talked on calls almost every day, spending hours chatting, teasing each other, and dreaming about the future they hoped to build together. Despite their physical distance, they shared every little moment of their lives' morning routines, silly jokes, late-night thoughts, as if they were side by side. It felt as though their hearts were always connected, no matter how many miles lay between them. But as they returned to their everyday lives, reality began to set in. Back in Nepal, Lina found herself missing Alex more than she had anticipated. She would often replay their moments together in her mind, longing to feel his presence once more. Although they continued their late-night conversations and exchanged messages throughout the day, something felt different. The excitement of their first meeting had given way to the challenges of maintaining a long-distance relationship. One evening, while Lina was sharing her day with Alex over a video call, she noticed that he seemed distracted. His responses were shorter, his usual warmth missing. "Is everything okay, Alex?" Lina asked, her voice tinged with concern. "Yeah, just a bit tired," Alex replied, forcing a smile. "Work has been hectic." Lina nodded, but she couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Over the next few days, their conversations became more sporadic, and Lina noticed Alex posting pictures with new friends, particularly a girl named Sophie, who often appeared in his photos. Though Alex assured her that Sophie was just a friend, Lina couldn't help but feel a pang of jealousy. Meanwhile, Alex was struggling too. He missed Lina deeply, but found it increasingly hard to balance his growing work responsibilities with the time difference. The distance began to weigh on him, and he noticed that Lina had started to sound more distant in their conversations. Misunderstandings crept in, as small comments or delayed replies were misinterpreted. One night, after a particularly rough day at work, Alex snapped during their call. "Lina, I don't understand why you're always so upset lately. It feels like nothing I do is ever enough," he said, frustration evident in his voice. Lina, taken aback by his tone, responded defensively. "I'm not upset, Alex. I feel like we're drifting apart. You're always busy, and it feels like you're slipping away." The tension between them grew, and what once was a haven of comfort and love turned into a source of anxiety for both. They started to avoid certain topics, not wanting to trigger another argument. Their calls became less frequent, and the messages that used to bring them joy now felt like a duty. Despite the growing distance, neither wanted to let go. They both knew that what they had was special, but they struggled to find a way to bridge the gap that had formed between them. Lina tried to focus on her work and hobbies, but her mind kept wandering back to Alex. She wanted to believe that they could overcome this, but doubts lingered in her heart. Alex, too, was torn. He missed the ease with which they used to communicate and the connection they had felt in Switzerland. He still loved Lina, but the distance was testing his patience and resolve. He wondered if it was fair to continue when it seemed they were only causing each other pain. As the weeks passed, they both began to realize that something needed to change. They couldn't continue like this, drifting further apart, but neither of them knew how to fix it or if it was even possible. One evening, after days of silence, Lina decided to reach out. She typed a message to Alex, her fingers trembling. "We need to talk, Alex. I don't want to lose what we have, but we can't go on like this. Let's figure this out together." Alex read the message. His heart felt heavy. He knew she was right. It was time to confront their fears and decide whether their love was strong enough to survive the challenges they faced. As he prepared to reply, he hoped that their connection, forged across screens and solidified in Switzerland, would be enough to bring them back to each other.